Skip, remind you now, he only weighed 144, so he was basically 10 pounds, basically under the weight. But he wiped it out.
A much smaller guy just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's going to have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
Canelo have to start playing catch-up in rounds 4, 5, 6. Believe me, by the 7th round, Canelo is going to be a little muscle fatigue, right? We've seen that.
Shannon Sharpe didn't hold back when talking about a potential showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. He issued a serious warning to Canelo, suggesting that stepping into the ring with Crawford could be a major mistake. According to Sharpe, Crawford's edge in speed, skill, and endurance could do more than just earn him a win. It might actually signal the decline of Canelo's reign at the top. Meanwhile, Canelo has opened up about his future plans. After 2 decades in the sport, he's beginning to think about retirement. He shared that his passion for boxing is still strong, but there's a growing curiosity to experience life outside the ring, to slow down and explore new paths beyond the ropes.
Has retirement ever crossed your mind? Have you ever thought about that?
I always say like 37 is good time to go. It's not because I can be in the boxing anymore, but sometimes you need to do something else. So I'm being in October I turned 20 years as a professional fighter. So it's meant a lot of years. So
Eddie Hearn, who has worked closely with Canelo Alvarez for years, has added fuel to retirement rumors by suggesting that the upcoming clash with Terence Crawford might be Canelo's last fight. Hearn hinted that the boxing icon could be nearing the end of his incredible career, and this showdown may be the final challenge before he hangs up the gloves for good. This isn't just speculation. Hearn has witnessed Canelo's evolution firsthand and knows the kind of physical and emotional where that comes with nearly 20 years in the ring. Facing a master technician like Crawford might be Canelo's way of ending things on his own terms, going out against one of the most skilled fighters of this generation.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Skull Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished, but the fact that he still has the desire for those training camps and those fights. But I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit. Not because of his love, but just because of age and life. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose to Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's going to have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
Canelo's recent outings, particularly against John Ryder and even more so against William Skull, have raised some eyebrows, including those of his longtime promoter Eddie Hearn. Hearn noted that Canelo didn't quite look like the fighter he once was. His combos lacked their usual snap, his head movement seemed a bit slower, and his trademark power appeared to fade. The raw explosiveness that once defined him during his prime seems to be fading. On the other side, confidence is sky high in Terence Crawford's camp. One of Crawford's closest allies, Bernie, went beyond calling him great. He referred to him as a legend in the making. Perhaps even more telling is the growing shift among Mexican boxing fans. While Canelo is still deeply respected and admired as a national hero, some fans are beginning to lean toward Crawford, not out of disloyalty, but because they recognize his current form, hunger, and unmatched skill set. Bernie emphasized that Crawford's recent performances have earned him worldwide respect, and even Canelo's own team understands just how dangerous Bud really is. When a fighter's greatness starts to earn admiration across fan bases and national lines, it says a lot about the legacy he's carving out. And right now, Crawford is doing exactly that.
Yeah. Now, the man said, now it's both good. Say, not going to beat me. You say, I'm telling you, I guarantee I'm going to beat you. So you know what I'm saying? That's how Crawford is. That's how he feels. He believes in his heart. And you could tell it. You could look him in his eyes. You know what I mean? And a lot of people believe that Crawford going to win this fight. And A lot of Mexican people.
Yeah, they
A lot of
supporting him.
Mexican
They
people.
supporting
A lot
him.
of Mexican people, you know, so they got their formula why Crawford gonna beat him. But it's a tremendous fight. I think Canelo, like I say, is a living legend. You know, everything that he do. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of Mexicans don't like him, but I love him. I think he does everything good in the ring. I think, you know, from swag to everything. I just love Canelo. I can't take it away from him. You know, he had them little allegations and everything.
Yeah.
And that's a damper on him, but I try not to focus on that. You know what I mean? I know he got in there with the baddest guys, the toughest guys, and he came through with flying colors. So I give him all the credit, going up there and fighting Bivol when nobody knew who Bivol really wasn't paying attention to him. That man was a 25-year-old champion, the reigning champion, title defense under his belt, and young and good. And Canelo fought him. So, you know what I'm saying? That was a challenge. You feel me? Had the height, had the reach, had a lot of, you know what I mean? So I give Canelo none but credit. I thank him for allowing us to get this fight. And you see what Crawford said. I didn't get to get, Canelo got to fight these guys with the names. I didn't necessarily get to fight all the guys with the names when I wanted to, but I got him.
Yes.
And that's the how it coming around full circle. And when God got it for you, nobody can be against you. And so I think he's the most deserving fighter of that outside of Benavidez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides that, but Benavidez still doesn't bring the super fight dynamic to it.
Yes.
It's a really good fight with Benavidez, but this is a super fight.
Exactly.
We have legends fighting each other. David Benavidez has yet to become a legend. He's still growing in the sport.
Absolutely.
Crawford is a legend. 14 years in the sport, 10 years as champion, 11 years going on. You understand? Undisputed 2 different times, fighter of the year, all those different things. So, like I say, and the mystique of Crawford is legend in itself. The mystique of Crawford. So, I mean, you know, so it's a super fight. Again, I thank Canelo Alvarez for taking the fight.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik didn't sugarcoat his thoughts on the potential showdown. While many view Canelo as the naturally stronger fighter, Pavlik argued the opposite, claiming that Crawford brings more physical strength and ring dominance. He praised Crawford's natural ability, strategic precision, and intense physical presence. But his comments about Canelo were even more revealing. Pavlik pointed out that Canelo has become more cautious in recent fights, seeming more focused on playing it safe than trying to finish his opponents. According to Pavlik, that mindset won't cut it against a relentless and hungry opponent like Crawford. He painted a clear picture. While Crawford is chasing greatness, Canelo appears to be fighting to maintain his grip on it.
Class, and he's a great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, you know, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on it because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. You know, the guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying, guys, so nobody come at me. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one, not worrying about anybody, you know, saying, hi, you're wrong, or talking. But it'll be a good one.
Respected trainer Robert Garcia also weighed in on the growing discussion, echoing the sentiment that Canelo is no longer chasing knockouts like he once did. Garcia didn't mince words. He simply said, Canelo is tired. Having turned pro as a teenager and carrying the weight of elite-level boxing for nearly 2 decades, it's no surprise the toll is starting to show. According to Garcia, Canelo's once razor-sharp precision and willingness to take risks have gradually been replaced by a more conservative, energy-preserving style. But Garcia wasn't criticizing. He was recognizing the reality. Canelo has fought the best, gone through countless battles, and held the spotlight for years. Now, the effects of that long, punishing journey are beginning to reveal themselves in the ring.
Why is it that Shiraz was able to knock out Berlanga, but not Canelo?
It's because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, you know, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same again, Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. You know, he's up there, you know, in not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
He was 15. a lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power that nobody believed he had.
Popular boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult called the potential Crawford versus Canelo matchup a fight that could go down in the history books. A win over Canelo, one of the sport's most recognized global icons, wouldn't just be another victory for Terence Crawford. It would cement his legacy as one of the all-time greats. At this point, it's not about belts, it's about building a lasting legend. But Showbiz also highlighted the strange burden that can come with greatness. If Crawford puts on a dominant performance, it might spark controversy rather than admiration. In today's social media world, people are quick to doubt, and a smaller fighter outclassing a name as big as Canelo could lead to wild theories and debates. For Crawford, this fight could mark both the peak of his career and the beginning of a new kind of battle, not in the ring, but in the court of public opinion.
Is going to attempt to do something that is so incredible, so magnificent, so amazing as a fighter and for his legacy, in trying to beat Canelo Alvarez, the 168-pound undisputed champion. My fear is, if he does that, if he accomplishes that, if he is able to succeed in accomplishing such a magnificent goal, people will immediately discredit Terence Bud Crawford and his victory, calling him a drug cheat.
Veteran sports analyst Stephen A. Smith, never one to shy away from bold predictions, gave a clear take on the potential Canelo versus Crawford fight. In his view, Terence Crawford would come out on top, not by knockout, but by decision. Smith believes Crawford's ring IQ, discipline, and ability to control the pace of a fight could be the key to securing a unanimous decision victory over the physically bigger but slower Canelo, while acknowledging Canelo's power and experience. Smith noted a drop in his recent activity levels, something that could work in Crawford's favor, especially in a 12-round battle. If Crawford does pull off a strategic win like this, it wouldn't just add to his resume, it would place him firmly among the greatest fighters of this era.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes, love boxing.
Who gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fighter in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
Always prepared.
He's always ready. He's always
that.
prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But I don't think he's gonna knock him.
Terence Crawford spoke with calm confidence ahead of the potential showdown, fully aware of Canelo's size advantage and relentless pressure style. But he's not shaken. Instead, he's mentally ready for whatever the fight brings. Crawford showed a mix of respect for Canelo's skills and quiet faith in his own ability to adapt. That blend of humility, focus, and strategic poise is what truly separates him from the rest.
Man, I'm feeling good. You know, work has been going great. And, you know, fight time, we're going to be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, you know, think it was, you know, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, you know, thanks to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, he made it possible. And, you know, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, you know, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, you know, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. You know, he's the bigger man. I expect him to, you know, box a little bit, but I also expect him, you know, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, you know, we expect everything in there.
Antonio, a key figure in Crawford's camp, shared that Terence already has a well-crafted game plan ready for Canelo. According to him, the team has studied Canelo's recent performances closely and designed a strategy to capitalize on every vulnerability they've spotted. Crawford isn't just training hard, he's preparing smart. He knows exactly when to adjust his pace, counter effectively, and apply pressure when it matters most. Still, Antonio acknowledged that Canelo isn't out of the fight by any means. He pointed to the version of Canelo that fought Caleb Plant, aggressive, explosive, and relentless, as the one who might stand a real chance. But if Canelo shows up with anything less than that intensity, Antonio believes Crawford's precision and execution could simply be too much to overcome.
Terence got to be Terence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how this ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizing Canelo being right there in front of him. You understand? Look at the movement. That's all you got to do. Look at the movement. And that's the type of master boxer that Canelo is going to be facing. And the only thing I say is Canelo hasn't faced an opponent like this in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's going to have to go back to the Caleb Plant fight and look that good, that active, that, you feel me, moving with that type of grace to beat Terence Crawford. Because weight ain't going to make the difference. It ain't going to be the weight. It's going to be the skill set.
In an unexpected moment, Canelo Alvarez openly praised Terence Crawford during an interview, ranking him above some of the biggest legends in boxing history. That kind of admiration says a lot, especially coming from someone who's faced Floyd Mayweather and worked closely with icons like Oscar de la Hoya. It wasn't just a compliment. It felt deeper, almost like Canelo recognizes Crawford as more than just a tough opponent. He may see him as someone destined to carry the torch forward in boxing. That level of respect also suggests one thing clearly. Canelo knows this won't be a typical fight. He understands he's about to face something, and someone entirely different.
The best fighter he has ever faced. He says that he believes that Terence Bud Crawford is better than legendary Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins, Oscar de la Hoya. There's no shock there. Tito Trinidad. But the shock came in where he said that he believes he is definitely better than Russian superstar undisputed light heavyweight world champion who beat Canelo Alvarez, I thought, pretty handily, 9 rounds to 3. I thought 10 rounds to 2, but 9 rounds to 3 at worst. He beat Canelo Alvarez in Dimitri Bivol. And then he said that, but this is not a shocker, he said this before, that Terence Crawford is better than Floyd Mayweather. Now, I personally don't believe that. I believe that Floyd Mayweather is a better fighter. But nonetheless, Terence Crawford is a great in his own right. But this just goes to show that Canelo Alvarez has learned something, a thing or two, from Floyd Mayweather. He showed some things he took from Floyd Mayweather from their fight, which he lost every single round to a 36-year-old going on 37-year-old Floyd Mayweather. in 2013, he lost every single round to Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather always build up his opponents. Always. Okay? He always build up his opponents. He never tear down his opponents. He learned, if you tear down your opponent, how you get credit for your opponent for the win.
In the end, it all comes down to execution. For Terence Crawford, the key is staying true to what makes him great, being slick, smart, and ruthless when the moment calls for it. His natural rhythm and strategic brilliance have broken down every opponent so far. But for Canelo to have a real shot, he'll need to show grit and composure like never before. He must absorb Crawford's sharp, pinpoint punches without letting them throw him off. If he can push forward, stay calm under pressure, and make the ring feel small for Crawford, the momentum could swing his way. However, if Canelo starts to fade, loses his cool, or struggles to deal with Crawford's movement and angles, things could unravel quickly. This isn't just a fight, it's a test of willpower, fighting styles, and who can endure the storm longer.
If he's able to be aggressive, not be affected by Bud's punches, and just keep, attacking and imposing that will on him, and then Bud being the dog that he is, and just saying, you know what, I'm gonna go, I'm letting loose. I think that can change the effect on Bud, and I think that will be the way that Alvarez can win that fight.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so what do you think? Obviously, if Bud remains slick, what outside of that could cause Canelo to lose this?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.
If Canelo can stay aggressive, push forward without being fazed by Crawford's punches, and keep applying relentless pressure, that could be the key. Forcing his will on Bud, round after round, might just break Crawford's rhythm. But then again, Crawford is known for his grit. If he decides to bite down, go to war, and unleash everything in his arsenal, that could flip the momentum right back in his favor. That kind of back-and-forth intensity could be what makes this fight unforgettable. That's what could ultimately lead to a Canelo loss. If Crawford stays slick, sharp, and refuses to get drawn into a brawl, Canelo might struggle to find openings. That, more than anything else, could be the deciding factor. That's it for today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Big fights are coming. Stay tuned.